I got 24.
Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds, and today we're going to be playing Session 2 of Aether Skies, the beginning of the end, with Open Legend RPG, sponsored by Open Legend. And sorry for the delay getting started. We had a bunch of technical difficulties, and I am not still convinced that my computer will not explode during this live broadcast. So, with that, we are getting underway here a little bit late. So when we had left off, you guys had basically successfully fled the city of Haven, which was in the curtain of gloom, where you encountered uh, much opposition and horrible things. Not to mention some a creature that pursued your ship, the Morning Hawk, through the gloom out of the city, and nearly brought the Morning Hawk down or captured it. It was only through uh, the heroics of a NPC elf named Safine, a powerful Ethermancer, and his sacrifice, where was the ship able to break free and escape. We also had some foolhardy, exciting moments during our intro game with Israel, Izzy for short, but don't call him that. Uh, Diving from the Morning Hawk with a sword onto a Leviathan-sized monster, and nearly being left behind. We had Kezek, the kobold soldier, psychic soldier, attempt to contact this ancient eldritch being with his mind, and he was quite successful in
It didn't
contact.
say Eldritch Mind, Ancient thing on there, right? There was no sign.
He wasn't wearing his name tag. He forgot it on that day, which nearly destroyed his mind. But with the quick actions of the crew and his own will and resolve, he was able to recover. So we were picking up back in the city of. You would think I would be better prepared. What was that, Ted?
Grangelhelm? Something like Grun.
I got it right here. Grundlehelm. So the you all find yourselves back at the HQ of the Ethernati, in a conference meeting with the Commodore. He is of gnomish descent, and his name is Geraldine Flitzenhauser. Right now, he is pacing back and forth, furiously looking over his notes and looking at each of you, and keeps looking up, looking perplexed, and then looking back down at his notes, because one of the shocking things that was discovered in your voyage into the city was there are things there that are so horrible they have the ability to erase things from existence in the conscious mind of the world at large. So he basically goes over to what would be a whiteboard or a chalkboard, and begins scribbling sigils and symbols upon it. And when you guys look upon it, chances are you're gonna have a pretty good idea what it is. You know, the way he's positioning things around an orb on the board, it makes you think of the flying cities. And then he draws a little mark next to each one of them, and each one has its own mark. Now, that mark looks familiar, but you may not be instantly aware of what it is. So anyone that wants to make a logic check may do so.
I'll do that. 1. So that's a d20 and then the extra dice that you get from the stat?
That is correct.
Okay.
9.
6. Because it's logic.
I don't know how to do this.
My D20 exploded, so I have a 47.
Wow. So it's going to be a D20, Bill, plus what is your logic score?
You have to first
Tis
unmute
1.
yourself.
It is a 1, so I believe you had a D4 for having a 1, so you'd be a D20 plus a D4.
D20 plus a D4. Ka-chow. 17, 19.
Okay.
Kobolds hitting it out of the park with the logic today.
Yeah, so both of the kobolds look at it, and it takes Krezek a little bit longer, but it's actually Bunny that, as you're kind of coming to the answer, Krezek, Bunny is already is already coming. It's already spouting from his lips, and what you notice is each one of those marks that he's made is actually a piece of the heraldry from all of the cities, the 13 cities, the 12, and the one that has fallen and returned.
So I'll, in my squeaky voice, share the information, kind of feeling like I'm speaking out of turn.
Okay, so you're actually able to match up each mark with the city and explain exactly how it is a piece of the heraldry. And even furthermore, you can deduce there's a pattern that they all make together when brought together, a larger sigil or glyph. So with that, Geraldine, the Commodore Geraldine Flissenhauser turns to you, Bunny, and says, "Well done, lad. Well done. Excellent work. You are correct. They are all linked. They are all pieces of the heraldry of each of the cities. And what has been long lost and forgotten by each of the cities is the importance of those marks. For within the heraldry is hidden away a clue as to the positioning of the cities and their importance to each other that has been lost to time immemorial. As you can see, these all come together to form this larger glyph. Well, this larger glyph is a seal. I've been looking into this and researching it, and I've also have had correspondence with the city of Fellcrest. I think it's Fellcrest.
It is.
Yeah. With some of the elves of Fellcrest and the their how would I put those words again? Their high council over there. And those things that you encountered, the gloom that is engulfing the fallen city of Haven, it's all connected. There was a barrier that was erected ages ago. And when we broke that city, when the city fell, we shattered that barrier, or at least damaged it. That is why the gloom is there. That is why these creatures have come. And may also be why our ancestors have left the surface to the sky cities themselves. Your small voyage into the gloom has left us with far more questions than it has answered. With that, congratulations on returning and bringing back the information that we do have. But it has come at a great cost.
So what you're saying is this is only going to get worse.
What I'm saying is that is a distinct possibility, but at least we are aware of the problem. Perhaps now we can take precautions, and what once was done perhaps can be done again. But unfortunately, I do not think we'll be able to mount another expedition into the gloom anytime soon. Not as we did before anyway. I believe that would be foolhardy. Assessments from the rest of you who have experienced this place?
So, Bunny kind of tentatively raises his hand. You mentioned a puzzle in regards to the heraldry, or a clue. I like puzzles.
Well, yes, it is the puzzle you yourself just sorted out, how they all fit together to create this seal. The answer was always before us. We've just never seen it.
These evil tidings would explain how the beasts were able to beat the Vanguard.
I'm not so sure that a mere sport can influence the larger things that in the world, but who knows? You know,
Have you seen the beasts play?
Well, that's true. You do have that, but you know, I was thinking more along the lines of maybe a miracle than ill tiding. So we have several options on the table. One, we could mount another expedition. We do not believe that will be wise at this time. Or directly anyway. The other thoughts, perhaps an expedition from the ground. Although the surface in itself has its own dangers. But perhaps we can kind of pick at the edges of the gloom from beneath. That is something I'm considering. In the meantime, though, we are going to need to complete some repairs on the Morning Hawk. With that, I'm going to charge you, Bunny, with leading the teams.
You want me to lead? I can do the work. I don't know about leading.
You are quite skilled, and you were the one who was able to decipher the heraldry right at a glance. You should give yourself more credit, son.
He kind of is looking for some kind of response or a way out of the conversation. He looks uncomfortable.
Yeah, and as he was speaking to you, he approaches you and lays on his small gnome hands on your shoulder. You'll do fine, lad. You'll do fine. You've got a great mind for these things.
These are strange times, and if this expert can lead us towards success in our mission, then I, for one, am willing to follow his lead.
Indeed, you have my full support as well.
Israel will walk over and place a hand on the kobold's back and say, "Yes, you are the one for the job."
You're just talking about fixing the ship, right?
Yes, of course. You're going to lead the mechanics and the other Etherficers in repairing the ship.
Oh, okay, I can do that.
Everyone has their place, and everyone was recruited for specific reasons. You come highly recommended when it comes to tinkering and crafting. With that, the rest of you are dismissed for now. We will have need of your services in the very near future. Except for you, Israel, I need you to stay a moment. So with that, everyone's kind of ushered out. And as each of you guys leave, except for Israel, who's still in the room, you pass a very tall, stern, and serious-looking man. Seems to be cut of the same cloth of Israel himself. And if you had to guess, you would guess he's from the same city, the city of Theopolis. They all have that serious look about them, and as the non-humans kind of file past him, you can probably sense the derisiveness just kind of coming off of him.
I'll give him one of these, as I pass by.
Yeah, he's just kind of staring off above your head.
Totally not even going to dignify that with a response.
And then as the last of you file out, he enters the room, and he nods with respect to the Commodore. And then the gnome looks up to him and salutes him. Greeting, Lieutenant Commanders. Your man is here and waiting for you as you requested. And with that, he shuffles on out. So Israel, This man is not unknown to you. You've seen him before. You actually fall under his command. It seems extremely odd that he would happen to be here. But Olaf Firestein III was a lieutenant commander that you've served under, and is also an officer in the standing Theopolis military, and also a part of the Ether. And right now, the look that he's giving you is much harsher than the ones that he had for the non-humans that have just left the room.
Somebody's in trouble.
Real quick, Ty, what did you decide on for your object? Is it the sword hilt?
Yes.
Okay. So, Israel.
Yes, sir.
I received a missive when I was en route to, and he kind of like shudders a bit, but into the city of Pergamentum. I had business there, not even in the good part of the city, unfortunately. But when I received the message from the captain of the Morning Hawk, I knew I was going to have to go out of my way. What were you thinking of all the asinine, stupid, self-centered, foolish things you could have done? And as he speaks, he just gets closer and closer, until, you guys are practically nose to nose, and, the spittle is flying from his mouth, and he's nearly quivering with rage as he speaks. You have a higher duty. You do not get to decide how you serve. You've been sent with a purpose. Explain.
My thinking at the time, sir, was that this monstrosity we faced, if anyone would be able to defeat it or drive it off, it would be myself. I believed, or at least considered, that I was the only one who would have the ability to do such. And in honesty, I still believe I would have been successful if not other events had occurred.
In the captain's report, she mentions the fact that one of your companions had to haul you off of this beast.
Yes, sir. A dwarf, sir.
With that, he kind of turns and stalks across the room, hands behind his back, and he spins on one heel, and he's not looking at you now, but looking at your hip. And had you been correct, had you failed, and had you not returned, what would have happened to that, the sacred relic of our order? You know how important it is.
I understand how important it is, sir. I was not thinking of myself. I was trying to protect and save the others that were with me at the time. Even though the majority of them are of...
He doesn't even let you finish. In like 3 giant steps, he's across the room. Wrong! That's exactly what you were doing. You were thinking of yourself. You fool! Had you fallen and lost the object, it may have never been recovered. You were thinking exactly of yourselves instead of our order, instead of our holy mission, our purpose.
Well then, sir, far be it from me to question orders, but I would tend to think that if I am that important and the object is that important, I'd have to question why I was sent off on dangerous missions in the first place.
There is always going to be danger, more so now than ever, and we believed that you would be an asset to this team. We still believe you're an asset to this team, but to throw your life away uselessly, for what? So a few others may live? There are millions of people amongst these cities that are counting on us. We have a mission that extends way beyond what you see before you here today. What you're doing is important. It is important that the object is with you. It is one of the few things that can counter. And he looks like he wants to spit, counter this disgusting magic that permeates everything.
Well, allow me to suggest this then, sir, in my own defense. When I jumped over the side of the ship to attack this creature, I was not only thinking of the others, but yes, I was thinking of myself. And I was also thinking that if I do nothing, or if I stay upon the ship and do not go on the offensive, that I was going to die. I could either do nothing and stay on the ship, or I could attack. At least attacking, I figured I had a better chance of surviving than if I did nothing. I may have been incorrect in thinking so at the time, but that in a matter of seconds, in the moment of action, that is all that kind of went through my head. I figured it was better to leap boldly into danger than to basically lay down and die.
So with that, he kind of deflates a little bit. He walks over to you and he puts his hands on your shoulders and he looks at you in the eye. He's like, I understand. I know what it is you're trying to do, and I don't question your bravery or your courage. But you have to think of the larger picture. You have to think of the importance of our mission. We need to bring back what was before. We need to wipe the scourge from the land. And unfortunately, that is a limited resource. I will trust that you will use this opportunity to learn from the circumstances and your last mission so that your next will be more successful.
I will endeavor to do my best, sir.
Dismissed.
I'll click my heels and stalk out of the room.
Okay. So the rest of you are heading off to handle personal business or repairs. And as you split and go your separate ways, Dr. Lucy is walking, and she kind of, she just left one of the most drabbest buildings in this city, possibly in this world. It's very nondescript. It almost stands out that it's so nondescript. It's like amongst the other towering edifices and building, it's like a squat bulldog just sitting there waiting. But as you're going by one of the other buildings, you just notice a flower pot with a single rose growing from it. And you're no longer in this city, but back in Fellcrest, walking amongst the gardens with your mentor and teacher, Selphine. And as you're walking amongst one of the paths where he himself has curated and tended to these flowers and the greenery himself, it's a point of pride among the citizens to have greenery and to take the responsibility for it and cultivate it. And he stops in front of a stand of roses growing. And one of his delicate hands reaches out as he gently cups one of the rose buds. Beautiful, is it not?
Oh, certainly so. It's kind of a rarity in these parts.
Yes, I'm thinking perhaps we should take some of these for the table this evening. They will brighten the place up.
The whole pot, preferably, rather than clipping them.
Well, sometimes you must clip away the excess to make the whole plant healthier, or the whole grove, as the case may be. But we could do that. We could probably take them out and repot them as well. And with that, he's kind of like stroking the petals, and he has a look on his face and in his eyes that you've grown quite familiar with. He's about to teach you something.
Okay.
You are correct in if we were to take them all and we could preserve them and bring them in together, others might just reach out and grasp the lot and take them as one. But with roses, it's very difficult to do that, as there is with the Aether. See, the problem and danger with gathering Aether, it's not in the taking too much. It's how we do it. And you're correct. You're wise for someone so young, and that's why I've accepted you as my apprentice. What is the danger in taking all the roses at once?
Because if we did that, then there wouldn't be more roses to clip from.
You were quite farsighted. But even before that, what if we were to reach out and just take them all?
Well, there are thorns to contend with. They do have their natural defenses.
Exactly. There are thorns. But one could easily pluck a single rose without fear of the thorns if they're careful. But to take them all at once, there is no way to get them all at once without thorns or precautions. Aether is much the same way. See, they think the danger in the Aether is grasping too much of it. It's not the too much. It's not the problem. It's how you go about taking the Aether. As you reach for the Aether, you must pluck it from the air, from the existence, as gently you would a single rose. When one gets greedy or anxious or impetuous, that is the danger of the Aether. Too much too soon. Sure, you will walk away with all the Aether that you could possibly hold, but it has its own thorns. Remember that.
I will keep that in mind.
Bunny.
Yes. My plan when I had left was to go right to the ship to begin assessing what needs to be done. I've never been a leader in any way, shape, or form. So he's kind of trying to figure out what he should actually do.
Okay, so once you show up, like you instantly start looking at the ship, and right away you know things that have to be done.
Right.
Looking at it, you know the ship is floating in its dock. You know the struts are all in place; they're not moving. And again, it is a long galleon of a ship. It's sleek in build, and it has 7 struts. They almost look like giant skis or poles that run horizontally with the length of the ship, and each of them are each one of those struts or skis. They're attached to an arm that extends back to the hull of the ship, and those arms are attached to a ring, which once the ship begins moving, that ring will slowly gyrate around the ship, and it has 2 rings, one with 3 struts and one with 4. It's a common design for an Aether ship. The thing that's not so common is the fact that it has 2 and it has so many struts. Generally, a ship will have 3 or 4 struts on it.
Not 7.
Not 7. There's definitely some ones, and especially larger ships have more. But for a ship of this size, it is odd. But it's not the oddest thing. The oddest thing about this ship is they call it the skirt that hangs down around the bottom of the ship. And beneath that skirt, there's 6 more struts. But these aren't arranged like the ones on the other ships. These are arranged more like turbines. They look like a turbine. And they spin slowly. And you've seen the design before because all the great cities have them. It's what holds them aloft. And as those turbines spin, they gather Aether about them and generate electricity. They energy and convert it to electricity, which is then stored, and it powers the cities. Some of the cities are a little more efficient and better at it than others, but for the most part, it's what keeps all the cities aloft and powered. This is the first one to actually be installed upon an actual ship. This ship is a prototype. And also what it does is it does allow the ship, the turbines to power the ship, which then in turn can power actual Aether cannons, which other ships have them, but they usually have to they have to actually store and have what they call ether shot. It's basically like the ether cannon version of a cannonball that has to be loading the shot. Well, the ship can actually generate its own. It just needs time to recharge between volleys. Compared to other ships are limited to the amount that they can store, and also it becomes a weight and drains on their resources and their cargo. So with that, as you begin looking things over, you probably have never imagined that you would get to see a piece of this technology, let alone be put in charge of it. And there's various mechanics roaming around working on things. So what is Bunny going to do?
Well, I want to assess and see what is the most critical, what needs to be done first, and then I want to see about getting that taken to. I don't know whether people are supposed to be reporting to me, and then I assign where they're going to go. You said he was told he's gonna lead this team, and he's kind of was told to leave without being told specifically where to go, or who was going to be reporting to him.
Oh, that is true. So after you get to the ship and you start looking around, it doesn't take long before one of the mechanics comes up to you and asks, "Hey, can I help you?"
I'm trying to see who's supposed to be helping me fix the ship.
Oh, you're one of the mechanics?
I was told I'm in charge.
Oh, and his eyes go a little wide. You are the one called Bunny?
I kind of look at my or lift my hand up to my disheveled bunny ears. Yep, that's me.
He looks a little dismayed. Okay, I will assemble the rest of the text for you. And within, the next 15, 20 minutes or so, you now have half a dozen people standing at attention, looking at you, waiting for orders.
So in that amount of time, was I able to gather what was the most severe or most damaged?
Yeah, although you're gonna have to crawl over it a little bit more, maybe get some reports from the rest of the techs. Most of what you seems superficial. Part of you is kind of thinking, well, you're definitely going to want to look under the skirt, see if there's any damage there, and then there's the other part of you that just wants to examine things that you haven't gotten to play with before.
All right, so I will kind of look at it. I'm certain that they're going to be thinking about looking at this 2 foot 8 inch tall kobold as I'm in charge kind of nonsense, but he's not going to really be able to get into any of that. So I'm just going to point people out and tell them, okay, give me a report on this, give me a report on that, and try to gather as much detail as I can from what they know.
Okay, so instantly once you begin doing that, different individuals step forward when you ask for different pieces of information. So you're able to start like compartmentalizing and getting a feel for who does what in no time at all, and you're able to coordinate with them to get the repairs under the way, order materials that are going to be needed. There's going to be at least a couple weeks of work here before the ship can put back out.
Okay, so I will assign them to the different things, and then I want to go looking around at the engine room, and with me having a logic of 4 and 2 ranks of knowledge engineering, I want to see if there's anything that I might be able to assess or possibly boost in design of what's actually here.
Okay, so you head to the engine room. Give me a perception check.
Oh, jeez. That would be a 10.
Okay, all right. What is your guard?
Guard is 16.
Okay. So you see someone lurking below in the engine room, right? And they seem like they're trying. They were definitely tinkering with something. You're not sure what, and you kind of startled them in what they're doing. And he hops up, grabs a wrench, and smacks you upside the head with it. You go reeling back. You take 3 points of damage, and roll initiative.
How was initiative rolled again?
D20 plus your agility.
11.
Okay, so you go reeling back, but then your reflexes kick in. What are you doing?
Well, he just attacked me, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm gonna have to defend myself, and I'll pull out my my Aether sidearm and blast him.
Okay,
So that would be an agility roll.
it would be.
24.
24. Okay, so you blast him straight in the chest with it, and it leaves a singe mark as he staggers back, and he kind of growls, and then goes to withdraw and run out the other side of the engine room.
So, how much time have I spent on a ship? Would I know, saboteur or any of those other kind of words?
Yeah, you know stuff. So,
all right. So I'm gonna chase after him, and I've got my my artificed boots that actually allow me to move faster than someone of my size. So I will chase after him, screaming saboteur, and I will keep blasting away at him.
Okay, so you can take another shot before he gets through the door.
That's going to be a 14.
Okay, so you blast a chunk out of the door frame next to him as he's running by, which also quickly is a quick reminder to you that you are in the engine room, and there is a bunch of delicate stuff in here that could possibly be damaged by stray ether blasts. And you also as you're going through the door now, you're looking at something that's you're gonna have to fix now.
Yep, I actually acknowledge that it needs to be fixed more so than the knowledge of engine booming.
So he's trucking up the steps out of the belly of the ship, and
now I actually spending so much time climbing around the garbage piles and things. I actually can climb up, as long as it's not like a sheer wall, I can, climb up the side of the ship. So if that's actually going to be faster than moving to the stairs, I will go that route.
It'd probably be about the same. It's if you've been inside a ship before, they're narrow hallways,
right?
And it's just going up the stairs. But one of your attacks appears on the stairs as he's coming down. So he quick grabs him and throws him past himself, like in your direction. Give me an agility check.
17.
So yeah, you easily actually duck under him, and you're able to keep going as he clears the steps and is on the surface of the ship now.
Okay, so he didn't actually get away.
Yeah, he's above deck now.
Okay, so can I, do I shoot him again, or am I actually close enough to hold the gun up to him?
No, he's still you're on the stairs and he's outside.
All right, well then I want to keep shooting, keep getting to him.
All right, so you come out of the hold, and you've got a line on him. and he's heading for the side of the ship.
That's a 24.
A 24. Oh, 24 again. So you blast him again, and just as he's getting ready to jump for the side of the ship, his feet give out. His chest actually slams into the rail as he slumps over the rail, half on the ship, half off the ship, with his back smoldering.
So I'm, yelling, "Saboteur, Saboteur!" So I'm gonna go over and pull out. I'm certain that I've got a pile of junk in my bag. I've gotta have something that's wire or rope that I can start binding him up.
Okay, so you do that. You grab his hands and to start binding him, and he's groggy, and he looks over at you, and you see him bite down on something in his mouth, and then his body begins to convulse and shake, and then you see the froth begin foam coming out of his mouth.
So I don't know who is my who is my report on the ship. I remember that we had a captain when we were here before, but I don't seem to have that written down here.
The captain is
Varkeen.
Yep, that's it, Captain Varkin. And the first mate, Sir Humphrey Smith,
So
is
I'll
is
say
about.
the first mate is about.
Yes.
So I'll kind of ask him to come over and good sir, I was in the engine room and this man was fiddling with the engine and he attacked me.
Well, that's not good. Did you see what he was about?
I was trying to stop him so that I could detain and figure out what was going on, and and I'll point to his face all covered in foam.
Well, I see you stopped him at least. Good job. Well done. Glad they sent you. Can you go see what he was messing with?
So I'll I can I'll ask for another pair of eyes to hasten the process.
Okay, so you go off to do that. Doug, what would you have been doing when you left?
Well, let's see. As someone that respects the chain of command and not having a direct order, Raz is pretty salt of the earth, so I'd imagine she would probably just go find a watering hole and have an ale. And I was actually wondering if I could use my fugitive perk to make contact with somebody in a secret network and see if they knew anything about these sigils that bind the cities together.
Yeah, you could attempt to look for a contact. Although you don't really feel like that's something like one of the criminals would know about. You feel like you'd be better served if you were to go to some place of academia, or someone who's versed in ethermancy or magic or history even.
Okay, well, I mean, in lieu of that, yeah, she'd probably just go have a beer, catch up on what's going on in the Etherball world, and await whatever orders that came from Bunny or Flitzenhauer. I suppose she probably considers them like, well, that's my chain of command right now, and she's basically on shore leave. So,
well, Bunny's only in charge of the techs and basically getting the ship up and running.
Oh, okay.
Don't be ridiculous. So your kind of options is you could find they definitely have different establishments. So you could go to a bar or tavern that's more geared towards military, or more like a sports bar where they're going to be talking about Etherball and some places throughout the cities, they have these large crystal screens where they actually kind of broadcast information, and in the cities where they are very into Etherball, they definitely put those up. So they're too expensive and too rare to put in like a tavern or a bar. But every once in a while, a tavern or a bar will pop up that's kind of like near one, so that either people can watch through the windows or they can actually sit outside.
Yeah, that's what she would do.
Okay. Or the other option would be to look for a seedier dive type bar. But you can also probably find the different types of people you're looking for at one of these sports bars.
Yeah, probably like a sports bar type thing.
Okay. So one of the when you're new to the city, but it doesn't take you long to find one, and there is one called the Sphere. Aptly named for the kind of the playing field that Ether Ball happens upon.
All right. I'll kind of look around the crowd. What kind of people are in there in this place?
So there's a good mix of the races. This city is actually a bit of a melting pot where everyone seems to get along with everyone else. There is no racial divides like some of the other cities. This is very metropolitan, cosmopolitan type area. And this is definitely like a working class establishment that you're in. And yeah, the working class people tend to gravitate way more to Etherball than the upper rungs of society.
All right. I'm sure you'd feel comfortable. Then I'd just go up to the bar, put my mechanical arm up on the thing, and order a beer. Say, can you believe these beasts? It's just blowing my mind.
Yeah, it's a bad business. It's crazy. There's a lot of people making and losing money on these guys.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, my name's Hodge. I don't think I've seen you around here before.
No, I'm new to the city. My name's Raz. I'm from Pietrakas, but I'm just here on some odd job business.
Yeah, so he's a dark-skinned human with a shaved head and green eyes. Medium build, looks very much like your Joe Average type. Well, you plan on staying long?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any pressing concerns right now, so I figured I'd just grab a beer, catch a game, kind of see what's going on. Looks like a pretty nice place.
Yeah, we do all right here. So do you have a preference?
Beer.
Well, he kind of like nods and waves an arm over behind him, and there's just a ton of different taps.
Got any dark brown ale?
Sure. Try some of this. And he gets a mug and fills it up for you. Dark Pony.
Awesome. I'll take my mechanical arm and just chug the whole thing.
And there's there on the tap itself, there's a picture of a black horse, and you've read about them, but you've never actually seen one before. So, does that give you much trouble? It kind of nods to your arm.
Nope. Now I've had it for a while. It gets a little cranky when it rains out and stuff, and you got to keep it oiled up. But stuff happens.
Yeah, it looks like you ran into a bad bit of business there.
Yeah, I cut myself shaving.
It looks like you're a ways away from any of the spots a lady would be shaving.
Well, I guess you haven't met many dwarves in your time, huh?
I guess.
It grows all over.
So it's kind of slow day in the tavern. There's maybe a dozen people kind of lingering about, drinking, talking about Etherball, talking about their day. Pretty nondescript. So later that evening, Krezik. You're muted. So after the day has gone by and you finally bed down, you find yourself waking up with a start. And you are in Pergentum. Am I saying that right, Ty? Pergamentum. You find yourself in Pergamentum in Junktown, surrounded by, well, rows and rows of junk, piles all over the place. There's kind of a fog hanging in the air, bad smell, and you hear a voice whisper, to you. What are you doing, my little maggot?
Pinch myself.
You don't feel anything.
Aha!
But then again, a lot of times you don't feel anything. Aren't you paralyzed?
Sleep paralysis is a potentiality, but it's not always mandatory.
No. Don't you sonically move your body?
God, never mind. I thought you were asking me a lucid question. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. So over one of the piles of junk, in the fog, you see those yellow glowing eyes, 2 rows once again, vertical, 5 and 5. What are you doing, little maggot?
Oh, me old friend. ¿Qué pasa, homie? Somehow I know some Spanish.
I think that's the primary language for the kobolds.
Okay.
Our dwarves are Russian. The kobolds are Spanish. Where are you going?
Not really sure. Not sure how me got here. You have something to do with this?
Mayhaps we have use for you, little maggot.
Okay.
You could be useful to us. We could help you.
Help Krizik. How?
How would you like to be able to walk again? Really walk. To feel the blood pumping through your legs. Feel the muscles stretch. Tense. Grow taut.
Sound good. But Krizik know this always come with bargain.
Ah, yes. There's always a bargain. There's a storm coming, Krizik, the maggot. Where do you want to be in the storm? You could be at its eye, or you could be pummeled before it.
Can me be at home watching on TV Weather Channel?
I do not think that's going to be a pleasant option for you. And with that, it begins like getting closer to you.
Not great. Let's see, bargain. Me, Krizik, always getting ripped off at China shop. Always pay too much. Get inferior stuff with crack inside. No good bargain.
Might be the only bargain that anyone's going to offer you. This
Okay,
world is
let's
finished.
Your deal.
This world is finished. You can serve us, or you can die with it.
So this is deal? Live or die?
Yes. We will offer you power.
I look around
And
for
the
the Cobra
chances
Kai
are
symbol. The Cobra Kai symbol. Live or die, man. Sorry, I'm old too.
It's okay.
Me keep options open.
Excellent. And with that, a large tentacle begins snaking out of the mist towards you.
Okay. Me know like me sure me see this anime sometime before.
What are you doing?
Stepping back and trying to use my seeing ability. Seeing, no, sorry, that's the wrong word.
I know what you're
for it.
talking about, but that's that prescience, which is basically your senses.
Precognition.
Yep. So what are you trying to detect or figure out?
The only thing at my power level that I'll be able to tell is good idea or bad idea from you.
Oh, okay.
Like favorable or unfavorable. So the whole bargain thing, it's going to take about a minute of me backing up and trying to, play footsie with this tentacle. So
Okay, so
the bargain is concerned.
I'm actually going to take the liberty of saying you would have started it sooner.
Yeah.
So before he started really approaching you, so you're reaching out, trying to figure out if this is a good idea or a bad idea. So you actually get back to a mixed bag, right? So he says there's a storm coming, and you're able to interpret that as some kind of conflict. And obviously, in every conflict, there's going to be winners and there's going to be losers. If you choose to serve these creatures and you're on their side, and they win, obviously that is going to be favorable for you. But the question is, are they going to uphold their bargain, and are they going to allow creatures of this world to survive whatever it is they're doing? What are they here for? Clearly, something very powerful had locked them away or locked them out at some point. So they're clearly dangerous. If everything you've experienced up to this point wasn't enough, and why would not someone have bargained with them before and tried diplomacy before? So to your way of thinking, you're probably going to go with unfavorable, and you're probably not treading new ground here.
What you need Krizik do?
Krizik's a soldier. You could be our soldier, maggot.
And I'm basically trying to glean him for information.
The way is not open all the way yet, but it will be soon. We are gathering our strength. More of us will come through. We cannot be stopped. It is inevitable. You might as well just give in.
Funny thing, Krizik been told this before. Never really work. Krizik used to being used. Krizik also used to doing his own thing. You stuff it.
So with that, there's like an avalanche of junk that starts coming your way it's almost like a giant fish flopping on land as it lurches forward. And you see more of those tentacles slamming down as it begins dragging itself towards you, and the tentacles are moving in your direction. Stay there, run, fight. What do you want to do?
Run and try to use my knockdown ability on them.
Okay.
To try and give me some kind of a leeway.
All right, so you begin sprinting and using your movement power to kind of push things, out of the way, keep things from landing on you. And, all of a sudden, both tentacles from either side just slam down on huge mountains of junk. And it's like an avalanche of junk just begins raining in your direction. And that's when you wake up tangled in your bed sheets on the floor, sweating profusely. And, when you first open your eyes, you see that double row of yellow eyes. And then it fades and you come to your surroundings.
Good thing. I was about to use my bite attack.
And it's the small hours of the morning. You only have a couple hours left before daybreak. So with that, the next day is dawned, and you guys are each receive a missive to come back to HQ because things have developed. And with that, the Commodore addresses Bunny once again. Would you like to fill our companions in on what has happened and what has transpired?
There was an attack in the engine room. I went to go make sure that everything was working up to proper specifications. And was it a human?
It was a human.
It was some human was mucking about in the engine room, and when I noticed him, he attacked me, and I pursued, and he killed himself.
So when you had gone back, you had determined he was actually, you had actually found something that he dropped in his haste to get away, and basically it was an Aether schematic. So he was it looks like he was trying to map out the system.
Okay.
And he had a good portion of it already completed.
So do I think that he was trying to mimic the quality of the ship? Because this thing is, considered, a top-notch thing, or
It's not only that; it's a prototype. There is no other like it. Yeah, and that's exactly, you believe it's a schematic of the inner workings of the engine room.
so I'll finish up, saying all of that. So it really begs the question of who would want to steal this design, along with so much so that they would die for it. I
That is
understand
curious.
profit, but he killed himself.
Yeah, that they would die rather than let somebody find out who wanted the information. I mean, I imagine a lot of people probably would like to know the secrets of this prototype ship.
Such a waste.
And also, sitting on a table off the side is a bunch of stuff. Basically, it looks like, at first it just looks like clothes, a bunch of clothes thrown there. And Geraldine points over. That is everything that was on the saboteur, as you've called him, Bunny. And I brought it back here so that we may all examine it together.
And what is there?
So there's a tool pouch, which is well designed. He's got top-notch tools. He's also got there's a small book, but it's actually blank with one page ripped out of it, which is probably the one, when you match up the page that you had, it actually fits perfectly. He's got some writing utensils. There's a boot knife. He's got his boots kind of stand out to anyone that is military inclined, and I believe there's at least 3 is that are. They kind of look regulation. Like if you had to guess, these were issued by somebody. And they're sturdy and well made. The clothing is, and they don't actually match the clothing. That's the other thing. They're not work boots, where the rest of the clothing is basically, he was wearing stuff to blend in with the other attacks.
So why would he fail at mimicking the shoes?
Because he wasn't very smart.
Do the boots fit him snug?
Yeah, yes, they do.
All right. If the boots didn't fit, I'd say he stole them, but those were obviously issued to him.
So, if you can inspect them further if you like.
I would like to do so.
Yeah.
All right, give me a. You can either use perception or a logic.
I will certainly use logic. Ugh, 13.
13. You don't really notice anything other than they're made very well.
I'm curious how somebody would so easily sneak into the bowels of a prototype ship like this. Was the clothes he was wearing like a uniform of people that work on this ship, or just like work clothes?
All the technicians are kind of dressed similar. It is like almost like a uniform.
Is there anybody on the crew that's missing?
There is not.
Well, I definitely think we need to up the security around here. If somebody could just stroll on down to the engine room like this.
What race is this individual again?
He is human.
Hey, Dave, I've got
one of them dirty
humans. Sorry.
Yeah,
I've got the observant perk. So
Okay.
what that does is, do you need me to read it?
Sure. What's it do?
Your keen senses allow you to notice details that others typically miss. Once per game session, you can use this ability to notice something out of the ordinary. For example, you might spot a hidden passage, blah, 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 trace of blood, all that.
Okay, so if you're invoking that, then as you're looking over Bunny's shoulder at what's going on, you for some reason you're not even sure why, but you feel the urge to reach out and slap the side of the boot, and you do. And when you do that, just above the heel, little fins pop out, and it almost makes them look like very small etherball shoes. Which the etherball shoes are basically, they almost look like like sneakers that have a flat disc attached to them, and they kind of use them to skate around the rink. And Bunny, when you shot him down, he was actually trying to leap over the side of the ship. Which, if the poison didn't kill him, which he could have just did that from the beginning, the fall certainly would have.
So can I examine the shoes further? Do they appear modified in any way, shape, or form?
Well, yeah, they're absolutely modified. They're actually very similar to your own shoes, but so it would be like a military version of a parachute.
So they're more modified than mine.
I wouldn't say more modified. Just yours just don't look as nice. They were designed so that the feature could be hidden.
Okay.
As clearly it was, but at the same time, they after you start examining them, it doesn't offer this quite the same range of mobility that you get from your shoes. They're very limited. They'd be useful for for slowing him and breaking his fall, but he couldn't actually fly and move as well as an etherball player would.
I would like to look at the notebook, like run my fingers across the pages, see if there are any scratch marks on the paper, like checking for the potential for invisible ink.
Okay, so you do look at it, and one of the things you do detect is that some of the pages are missing, but they're missing in a way that actually makes it hard to realize they were even there.
Mm-hmm.
So were they like painstakingly cut out?
Yes, or removed somehow.
Which means those aren't the only notes he took.
And then on the very first page there is, and this is the only page that looks like it was actually ripped, because in his haste he must have did something, caught it on something or whatever. That page tore out, and it is the page that Bunny has, and you can actually detect the writing through it, but it's of the page you guys have.
Mm-hmm. So the other pages that were, the other pages that were cut out, can I get my charcoal out and rub the pages underneath where those pages were and find out what was on them?
Give me a learning check to see how successful you are.
Okay. $17.
Okay. Yeah, you're actually able to salvage. You're actually able to salvage 2 pages. And one of the things you notice right away is that they're actually referencing the Eternati. The Eternati is a secret society, so whoever they are, they're aware of. They're aware of this your organization's existence.
I will point this out to the rest of the party.
Was the man on the ship the whole time? Like, was he with us on the way back from Haven?
You guys have never seen him before.
But we've only been back for like 1 day.
Yes, you guys returned the day before.
There's a mall. Or it's another cell or something. Somebody would have had to know we were back today. Or they saw the ship come in. So they must have been watching the port.
As far as we are aware, does the Eternati have anything or consider anything a opposing organization?
Yes, there's actually there's several rivals out there that would be considered enemies or frenemies. Some of them frenemies, others enemies, that are working directly against you. Most of the cities themselves, their militaries would be anti-Aether if they knew about them as well, because most of the cities are self-contained and cooperation isn't something happen. Matter of fact, the Aether even working with itself is kind of a rare thing.
So we just have to figure out, which of these organizations knows enough about the Aether, be willing to stop them, and have an agent in place by happenstance, within 24 hours of us returning.
So one of the things too, like, just so you guys would all know this anyway, but the ship is actually docked on a hidden port. It's not, it's camouflaged. It's not out in the open where it's likely to be seen. It is a high security area with several checkpoints to get through. So this individual would have had to sneak through, infiltrate somehow.
I'm convinced there's a mole. I'm eyeing everybody a little suspiciously, except Bunny, since he shot the guy.
Woohoo!
All part of his master plan. They're like, I'll shoot him. They'll never expect me.
He slipped him the poison pill.
So who here among us has any real skill at investigating, or heck, even conversing? Because that certainly isn't me.
Well, that I could maybe contact my network and see if they might know anything about that.
Well, you gotta be careful, because you don't want to be Aether and
I could see who might be in the market or interested in unusual Ether ship technology.
There's also one other clue that you were able to kind of pick out of the etchings, Dr. Lucy, and that was a slang term.
All right, what was it?
It's not so much that's the slang term itself that's important to you, but the fact that there's only one place of where that term is used, and that's in Udenberg. And Udenberg is the most xenophobic of all the cities, and has the least most interaction, and they're unique in one other way. It is the only city that does not have an Etherball team.
Sus. I will also point this out to the rest of the party.
What is the slang term, out of curiosity?
Yeah.
The word? Oh, I don't know. Just some made up word that I did not make up.
So you made up a word without making up a word. Hold on.
He made up the idea that there's a.
But the idea is it's a slang term for outsiders. So the Commodore is kind of like walking around, plucking at the stuff with the rest of you as well.
So how tall is the Commodore?
He stands a good probably 6 inches above you. He's not very tall himself. He's only a gnome.
So Sir Flitzenhauser, what is your take on this?
Well, we could have a mole, as Raz has pointed out, or it could be a spy. But either way, they're fairly skilled, and they already knew something.
So if we look at, if he had to get through multiple checkpoints just to get on the ship, and then be able to get on the ship and to the engine room, it had to be a fairly skilled infiltrator. So are we able to retrace his steps and find out, who he would have gotten by, and see if maybe he's got compatriots?
Well, we are working on piecing that together now. We're not quite like I said. Obviously, we're not sure how he got in, and it was only luck. It was only the luck that you stumbled upon him while he was doing whatever it was he was doing, that we are even aware at all. But once they get past the last checkpoint near the ship, getting on the ship and actually entering the engine room is a lot less difficult. At this point, everyone figures security would have weeded out anything. And to be honest with you, this place is virtually unknown.
So
do all his credentials match up? I mean, there's nothing fishy there, or
he doesn't have any credentials.
Any credentials? Yeah, he clearly had a way in here.
Yeah.
So the tools that he has, are they standard? Are they, in any way, shape, or form, spectacular?
Yes, they would be. They would be the best that you could possibly find for what they are. Where I almost envisioned, like, before you began working with Nerdarchy, you were using equipment that you kind of like cobbled together, you improvised, or even made yourself, and now you have really good stuff.
Okay.
And this would be equivalent to that or slightly better.
But they are not. They're not Etherfeist. They're just a good set.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you would use them to Etherfeist.
Okay. That speaks a lot.
And the boots that he has would be extremely expensive, and it's not like you can go into a shop and just grab a pair.
Right. I mean, the boots that I have are outdated in the slightest, and might even be mismatched. They were, found in junk piles in Pergamentum, and then modified thereafter.
So it looks like we have another mystery to solve.
Who all is in the room?
It is just you guys and the Commodore.
And how safe is this room? Like, how sure are we that no one is listening into this conversation?
How suspicious are you?
At this point, pretty darn.
So you suppose using some kind of Etherfeist or Ethermancy, or possibly a psychic could possibly spy in here. As far as physically spy, you don't really see any of that happening.
I'm going to grab the notebook and take a page out of it and start writing a note to everybody that I propose we create a trust password. Like, we'll say a phrase and then there's a correct phrase to say back, and that's how we know that we haven't been compromised. So, if you don't say the right thing back, then something is wrong.
So call sign and password.
Yeah.
That will work just fine unless one of us is a spy.
Damn it, Ty.
Or somebody's listening right now.
So
But I'm writing this down, not saying it out loud.
That's
That's the reason for it.
and then, of course, there's also the side effect of if things are being done psychically.
I think that if somebody is going to go through all of this trouble to do what they're doing, and they obviously didn't want us to know about it, but a good byproduct of this is sowing distrust among our own group. And I think that we wouldn't have been called here if the Commodore weren't very sure that we were all on the level.
Yeah, so a little background, that each of you were handpicked and selected by your cities, the Nerdarchy in your cities, and put forth as the best, the brightest, most trustworthy. So even you guys aren't really getting to know each other. You've only been together for a month or so. There was time prior to the voyage. There was prior time on the voyage, and then some time when you got back or on your way back. But that being said, in the relatively, you guys are still kind of strangers to each other. But you each know that you were hand selected and picked by the Nerdarchy from where you're from. And you can only surmise that everyone else is the same. I can't stress enough how monumental it is for the different cities to be working together, even though it's the same organization?
Well, the fact is, and Israel's talking out loud to the group. It's like the fact is you can't always trust everybody, but at the same time, sometimes just for practical reasons, you have to bite the bullet and move forward. So even if one of us here is not trustworthy, then we have to go ahead and
Trust them
do
anyway.
as this note here. Trust. We have to trust someone, so we have to trust each other, I suppose.
Thank you.
Your words have, both of your words, both spoken and written, have wisdom. The Commodore speaks up, and I have the utmost faith in each and every one of you. I know each of those that have selected you, and you've been put forth for this most important task. There is no way we're going to be able to get through this without our combined efforts. And you're correct, Israel. If we spend all of our time second guessing each other, we're not going to accomplish anything.
I trust the people in this room for sure. I'm just curious, to have gotten through all the defenses here. There must be some chink in the armor.
So I don't trust anyone. I just know that if I did find out someone was a traitor, I'd just shoot them in the face.
I can respect that, comrade.
So the question is, what do we do now moving forward?
Well, logically, we can investigate from multiple perspectives. We need to figure out. I mean, obviously, everyone, many places have much to gain from stealing the technology of this ship. But is it solely from that, or was there plans of sabotage or competition? Then there's the other side of it of how did they gain the information? How did they get access? How did they know that we were even here?
That is, they're all valid points. The Morning Hawk is going to be the repairs need to be completed. I'm not sure what that plays into the plans of our enemies. What exactly they're looking for. It is a fantastic piece of artifice or etherfice. And the question is, we have these other issues as well. There's the gloom. Can these creatures get out of there? Can they reach beyond their borders? That is also a concern of ours. Fortunately, we've yet to see any of the creatures leave that place. And even when you yourselves were there, it did not, they did not pursue you beyond the gloom. So that is a good sign, at least.
So is this my turn to speak up? I'll take that as a yes.
That's completely up to you.
Yeah, so I will acknowledge that, yes, that thing that we fought actually did, try to reach out to me last night. It tried to make me an offer.
That's unsettling at best.
Make you an offer. It appeared here in the city, and like his eyes go big as saucers, and he kind of like puffs up.
I am okay. If I'm actually doing the talking, Krillic am psychic. Therefore, it come to in my mind, cannot come out of gloom, only through mind, higher astral plane.
I see, and it tried to offer you a deal.
Yes, me know. Already tried this deal with others before, other psychics. Sometimes work, sometimes not work. But entity not trustworthy. Also give me big headache.
Well, yes. It was very, very brave of you and you kind of get the feeling when he says that he doesn't really mean brave at all, of you to try and converse with the creature when you're out upon the morning hawk.
Me, Krizik, am no stranger to sarcasm.
Well, yes, but the question is, can they reach out to others, or is it merely are you connected to this creature because you opened your mind to it?
Could be that, could be psychic, could be lots of things. Either way, says that things are coming, says that they are trying to escape. Meantime, maybe Krizik, I'm thinking, we find quartermasters in charge of dispensing these particular boots. That only way they can get these. It's lead.
That is definitely a good observation, and is definitely a place for us to investigate. Well, one thing's for sure, they're definitely military grade.
Well, specialty military grade on top of that. So at the very least, the quartermaster will know if they're shipping them out someplace, if they're being what's the word, licensed to somebody else, whatever.
For that matter, will they fit anyone here?
Well, I'm going to go with no on the kobolds. Possibly, there's a possibility that they'll fit either Israel, Dr. Lucy, or
Do you really think my
Raz.
feet are that big?
Israel doesn't want them, unnatural.
I'll check them out.
All right, so you check them out, and it turns out that they will fit you, not perfectly, but they'll fit. And you could probably take them and have them refitted.
Yeah, maybe we should preserve them, use them as they are only lead, so maybe don't want to scuff them up and use, get them all worn out though. In the meantime,
yeah, we do have our own manufacturers of Etherfice here in the city, so we can have them examine them. Yeah, but you're not familiar with you're independent. You're not familiar with the other cities and the workmanship of other Etherficers.
Right.
Perhaps we can, as you said, we can figure out the tradesmen that manufacture these, or at least where they came out of. Or they could very well be from Udenberg.
that is definitely true.
You did tell them, right, Megan?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, they could very well be from Udenberg, and so the slang term, or Udenberg's low speak for outsider. That part has me a little concerned.
Why
You
is
said
that?
I'm sorry.
Well, an outsider could just refer to someone from beyond Udenberg, or what if it refers to someone from even further, or something? We've already established that these creatures can, at the very least, under some circumstances, reach out beyond the gloom. We don't know for sure that there's other ways.
When you say outsider, are you thinking like the ground world, or even beyond that?
Well, as Krizik has pointed out, these things are trying to break through from somewhere else. And some of them have already accomplished it. They're coming through. The gloom is slowly spreading. That is why, in our desperation, we've decided to work together. It cannot continue to spread. The surface itself may hold some answers, we don't even know why we left at this point. We all have conjecture and conjunction and a lot of other things, but no one, they're all theories. It's been so long ago. And for some reason, that information has not been recorded.
So can we figure out what makes up the gloom and see if we could stop away it from spreading?
Well, that is another thought. That, we believe those sigils, all 13 of them combined to a glyph that was holding whatever it was at bay. Before the incident when we went to war, the various cities went to war and felled Haven.
The sigil, if we get it reenacted, will it force things out, or will it only stop more from coming?
We do not know that. We don't know what happened the first time. We do not know if these things have been, clearly these things have been encountered before, but we don't know, if we had to fight them, fight them to the death. We do not know if they were really driven back. There's so many unknowns. This is new territory. It is scary territory.
At that, I'm gonna, kind of shrink back into, whatever the nearest wall or corner or whatever have you.
I think we really need to get boots on the surface and see what's going on outside the gloom. Perhaps there's another way we can come from underneath.
I don't think you literally mean just throw these overboard, do you? Point towards the shoes.
No, not quite.
I'm torn between concern for the danger and curiosity about what's down there.
I will volunteer to go.
Israel actually volunteers to put on the boots and jump over the side because
I'll jump without the boots.
You've already seen that.
Exactly.
We're looking for something new here, Ty.
yeah, Krizik's got no compunctions about going down.
This information could be unprecedented, and I really want to know.
So once the Morning Hawk is fully repaired, I think that is our next course of action, to see if we can't come in low at the gloom and Haven.
I have already set the team to their tasks and have would have begun my own work had it not been for, and I'll point towards the center of the room with the pile of stuff.
That's all well and good, Bunny, but you don't actually have to do the work yourself, as long as you oversee it and make sure they're getting the job done and make sure it is done correctly.
Kobolds work.
Well, yes, but sometimes the work is actually making sure the others are working properly.
That doesn't seem very efficient. If I work too, it gets done faster.
Ah, yes, but if you're off busy working and your colleagues are not doing a good enough job or is not up to snuff, who is going to be quality control?
Oh.
It is your trained eye that we value the most. Your workmanship is excellent. I have no doubts, but more importantly is your expertise. So having the technicians report into you and overseeing their work is an invaluable service. And while it may not seem like hard work, it is quite necessary.
Israel will suggest that he stand guard on board the Morning Hawk until we were finished and ready to go.
That's not a horrible idea. We definitely posting guards and sentries, which we're going to do anyway. But I see what you're saying. You want someone from in this room to be there.
Yes.
Well, I don't think it's practical to think one soldier is going to be there 24/7, but there's enough of you to kind of split up the workload. And, Bunny will be there most of the time anyway. So I propose you do it in shifts.
That sounds reasonable.
That makes sense.
So Bunny will be there, working working the shift during the day, making sure the technicians are there, and then the rest of you can just split up however you like. And I will also assign some soldiers to each of you from within the organization.
Okay.
If it's not too much to ask, can we have a secondary team at the engine room?
What exactly are you asking for? A secondary guard, or?
Yeah, I want a second guard stationed right outside the door. Nobody gets in without proper say so.
Well, I could give you 3 men for each shift, and you can put them wherever you need them.
That works.
I mean, it seems a bit paranoid to assume everyone is a mole. But hopefully we will be able to root out if there is an infestation within our organization, or if this individual merely infiltrated.
In the meantime, the best we can do is just press forward with our tasks. So,
well, we have to assume that it was not a lone individual, because whatever he did was obviously not all on his person, as denoted by Dr. Lucy's findings in the book. So clearly that information went to someone, or otherwise it would still be in the book. And secondly, if it was just him, he would have no fear of retribution from any higher order, and therefore would not have killed himself. So there must be some direct report.
Well, you are assuming that he was motivated by fear other than some other emotion. But you're actually quite wise in your assessment. And maybe we're looking at this wrong. Maybe we should be looking for someone trying to leave the city. Or someone's.
is there any way we could find out if there's, like, if Udenberg is xenophobic, they probably don't leave the city that often. Is there any kind of, like, maybe diplomatic convoy here or anything like that?
That's why it makes it really odd. Like a lot of the trade and there's not a whole lot of trade that happens between the cities. Most of them are self-contained. There is some embassies and diplomacy going on, but actually most of the contact is usually through the sport of Etherball, which people will, the really wealthy can actually follow their teams, but the Etherball players don't have a lot of trouble moving freely. And then the other thing is Udenberg doesn't have a team. So if they came out of Udenberg, chances are they have probably went to one of the other cities and then came to Grendelhelm. But that being said, there is only so much travel between the cities. So it is feasible that you could probably, the information can be gotten as to, if there's anything going to be disembarking in the near future or has.
Yeah, maybe one or a few of us should go down to the port and just kind of keep an eye and see if we can find out anything there.
So it's probably been about 12 hours since the saboteur was stopped. So time is ticking.
We may also want to check to see if there's any Etherball teams leaving soon, because it sounds like, to me, like that would be one of the easiest ways to move from city to city.
And he did say those boots are similar to what the Etherball players wear.
Find out who's missing a water boy.
Yes, all of those are excellent ideas. And I think we need to move immediately if we're going to be able to capture any possible accomplices. So I think with that, we're going to wrap it up there for today. And sorry for the late start, folks, but don't worry, we'll be back next Friday for more Etherball, more antics, and more Eldritch horrors from beyond. So with that, until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.